Hey everybody at the Schwantz27's channel, it's DJ Vaughn on the Wicked Ones and Twos, here to talk to you about our latest update to Black Ops 4, which brings the Days of Summer event to the inferior platforms on the sole basis of monetary compensation to Activision, spelled with a $sign. Even though Schwantz was on vacation last week, our 7-day delay allows me to explain all of the changes in our game that everybody loves on paper until you get to the catch at the end of the video that completely undermines all of the hard work that we do, because that's what happens when Activision publishes your game. Anyways, with this event now available on the VCR and PC, it brings a new contraband stream of 50 tiers, since we split this operation into two separate parts to artificially rush the amount of time players had to complete each section so that Activision could collect money for purchasing tiers at the 11th hour due to FOMO, or fear of missing out. I'll talk more about what's earnable in that stream later, but first let's go over the zombies changes, since that won't take too long, as there were only 2 flash frames of it within under 1 second total of the more than 60-second trailer. There's no new zombies map in spite of this being the 3rd operation in the game, and there have only been 2 zombies DLC experiences thus far, since the team has been busy squashing bugs due to the fact that we launched this game 1 month early, make that 7 months too early for our zombies team, since features that were promised at launch like factions are still somehow missing. We do promise a new experience in July for the next operation if you have that Black Ops pass only, so be sure to grab mom's credit card to bring back the Ether storyline, since those are the only characters that you run around in circles for hours on end that just out of arm's reach players seem to feel attached to. Until then, you're stuck doing yet another gauntlet, this time for Ancient Evil, called Labors of Hercules, spelled with a U, because Americans just love removing letters from words to make it easier on their terribad spelling and reading comprehension. Also now on the VCR and PC for zombies, there are 4 new elixirs and support for new weapons, including the Mach 2 Mastercraft variants that we've used to dilute the loot pool for getting actual new weapons, and more on those later. Now on to Blackout, where the map gets a summer-themed update with new barbecue-themed parties, yard flamingos, flags, pool floats. I mean, look at this trailer. Is this even a shooter game anymore? Anyways, there's also new foliage and lighting that won't be as blinding as the spring update, since we don't work at DICE, thus our sun flares aren't overpowered. Our bad design decisions are. Head on to the cooler to pick up paint cans in the most recalculous solution for camo unlocks ever made, because beer cans aren't appropriate in a game where the initials COD actually stand for Children's Online Daycare. But we did cover that base with throwable water balloons around the map. Since I'm a big science guy and the sun evaporates water, the floodwaters have receded, so now you don't have to rely heavily on finding a water vehicle to actually get around the map. The hydro dam and factory are being repaired. Cargo docks is now restored because it turns out that nobody likes underwater gunfights, and Hijacked has been relocated so that people will actually drop at it now that it's no longer a new novel place to land, because it was so far out of the way and had shite loot. For the Alcatraz map on the PS4 only, since we had to give the exclusivity platform something new with this update, and everybody knows that we only really care about the Blackout mode, we added 2 new locations, Submarine, which was an easy port from Icebreaker and multiplayer, and Shipwreck, which will give people some actual cover in the Battle Royale experience that's basically like playing Deathmatch in GoldenEye 64, having to drop in and pick up the remnants of shit after each time you die and start with nothing. We've also added a new vehicle, the Attack Helicopter, which is basically just a flying ARAV with 2 turrets instead of 1, so all those Battlefield 4 Little Bird rank 140 players will easily mow down the competition like a landscaping company, and Outriders Hawk as a recon drone piece of equipment that, unlike the multiplayer version, cannot be parked in midair, because I actually care about the balance of Blackout and not the game mode that I have absolutely nothing at all to do with. Another new feature is the Coward's Way Out, which hasn't been something in a Treyarch game since back when Last Stand was somehow a perk, if you remember the term blop-shotting, but in Blackout, it's simply to allow a faster respawn in modes that forgive you for being bad at it. Since our game has been chasing trends while abandoning our standard functionality ever since the beginning of its inception, we've added a ground war game mode, and before you get all too excited, it's only a 50v50 game mode in Blackout, similar to what Fortnite had over a year ago in it, not actually increasing the player count beyond the quote chaotic 6v6 in multiplayer. Most likely because we're already having trouble filling the playlists, and adding in 6 more players would never fill it up. Speaking of multiplayer, there's a new mode, and by new, I mean a mode that's literally been in every Call of Duty game, ironically except for Call of Duty 4, so I'm sure it'll also be missing from the new one since it's a reboot. Anyways, CTF returns, and comp players everywhere are hoping that it's longer than just for a limited time mode because of how all those esport game types revolve around fighting over certain areas on the map versus an actual moving objective. Since we caught so much shit for having a basically untouched WMD being a Black Ops Pass only map with the anachronistic in 2019 Season Pass, we're giving away a new map for free. And by new, of course, I mean in the same spirit as WMD, with grind, absolutely no reskinning whatsoever, available to all players, since I don't even know how bad the backlash would have been to put a map that people have already paid for as DLC in a previous game behind yet another paywall. In addition to all of the new things to play dress up with in an FPS that have been shown off in the trailer that's actually mostly locked behind RNG boxes and reserves instead of the new watered down 50 level contraband stream, we've also got 6 new weapons for this event. Well, really 2 new and 4 recycled, since Treyarch is the greenest company around, including the Vendetta sniper rifle that was in the previous operation's promo materials but got delayed to this one, the second half of this operation, that is available for unlock at level 50, and the Grav assault rifle, which is actually the Galil from the original Black Ops renamed in order to try and fool people into thinking it's something new. But there's a twist in order to get this for free. It will only be unlocked via a community challenge, which thankfully now with this patch, the entire community can actually work on unlocking by completing 15 million matches, which is actually a lot harder than it sounds because 1, this game makes even the most patient of players rage quit due to all the bullshit in it, and 2, prior to this patch, there was only 1/3 of the community working on it, with neglecting the VCR and PC platform for it just being on the PS4. Okay, maybe that's actually half of the community, since even after having it in a humble bundle for cheap as shit, nobody is playing it on PC. I wonder why we haven't put any maps or items from Black Ops 3 into our game yet. Maybe it's because nostalgia is a hell of a drug, or Black Ops 3 was really badly received because of the whole locking weapons and supply drops only thing. Hey, maybe we should do that with the 4 other weapons, of which the only actual new weapon is the previously leaked S6 Stingray tactical rifle, joining the Locust sniper rifle from Black Ops 3, Peacekeeper SMG from both Black Ops 2 and somehow again in the game after being a supply drop only weapon in Black Ops 3, although it's now an AR for whatever reason, and the ballistic knife following the footsteps of the Peacekeeper as being yet another pay-gated weapon that was a launch weapon in a last-gen Treyarch game. And there it is, the single decision point that undermines this entire event, as I alluded to earlier, but that's what happens when Activision sees knifing YouTubers paying upwards of $500 just to unlock this item, which is actually contradictory to players that only use melee weapons, since this is actually a ranged shooting weapon in spite of the word knife in its name, as if the community is not as smart as I am to know that it doesn't matter what the weapon is called, it just matters how it functions. Yes, you can have the chance to earn one of these new weapons with a weapon bribe that is unlocked at level 25 of the contraband stream, but of course we're math people, so we're going to reduce that probability by putting the Mark II variants of weapons in those same bribes, which aren't new weapons at all, but just the same beepity bops with different pieces of flair on them. And don't you want to express yourself, Joanna? Wait, what? Sledgehammer Games has also put brand new weapons into their game, Call of Duty World War II, in supply drops only, but unlike us, they actually responded to the community outrage by interacting with them. That's a bold strategy there, Cotton, but it is actually paying off for them, as even though players will have to wait until July for specific weapon contracts and having collections being reopened for purchase with in-game currency and not COD points, the real-world currency, but at least their concerns were heard and a resolution was reached that most people are happy with. But we also have contracts coming out later in June. Why are people then still mad at us, clearly the superior development team that never does anything wrong? Maybe it's because our turnaround time for a response was 1 week versus Sledgehammer Games doing it in 1 day. Oh, it's because those contracts will result in those watered down by variant weapon bribes and other types of RNG reserve rewards that don't actually allow people to get the individual item that they want, and they're afraid of them being locked behind COD points like other individual items listed in the black market. I guess we could try and blame Activision again here, but in reality, it's only the Treyarch titles that have the most egregious fulfillment of micro and macro transaction schemes of any Call of Duty games.